Hey, dear friends, it's so good to see you today. Today, I have Roma coming on, who is one of my dear friends and former clients. She's an amazing, amazing tattoo artist, and she actually is teaching other people how to do tattoos. She has a whole academy, and she also teaches other permanent makeup artists how to do tiny tattoos. So she is super awesome. I'm excited to have her on. And I also wanted to invite you, if you are thinking about creating more systems or just getting more support in your business this year, I would love to support you. I want to let you know that that group coaching program, it's so fun, and that is going on until next Friday. That's when it's going to end. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to have everyone get started on Tuesday, the 4th. We do a 2-hour coaching call once a week on Tuesdays from 10 a.m. until 12 p.m. And then we also are going to have like other group times where we can like meet up. But the cool thing about this is I've had a lot of people doing, like, I've joined a lot of groups and things like that. And the thing that I'm doing this round, which is really different than last round, is I'm making it more like a mastermind. So the way that I'm going to be guiding the calls is I'm going to be actually like leading you to like calm your nervous system down to get settled. And then I'm going to help you to make decisions from a CEO mindset. Then I'm going to give you my feedback. And then you're actually going to get the whole group to join in if you want, if you feel open to it. And then you're going to be able to have everyone support you, give you ideas. That's, I think, been one of the most powerful pieces is that, like, people are like, oh, I've got this idea. You should message this friend about doing a podcast. You should talk to this person. I know there's this app that you can use that could be really helpful. And those are the kind of things that you can do within the situation within the group. So I think that could be really, really helpful for you if that is something that you're looking for. This group is going to go from April all the way through September. So this is like, if you are feeling like, what I found is that like I lose a lot of momentum in the middle of the year, this group is going to sustain you to keep you going. Make sure you've finished the summer strong, you've got extra support, and also, of course, like get all the systems that you need. So I'm super excited for that group. Feel free, I'll put the link in the bottom of these notes to join. And Roma, I'm gonna bring you on. So let's get started. I think she's at a coffee shop, so this will be really fun to like coach you all the way in Toronto. Hello! Oh my gosh, look at you! Can you
Oh,
hear me okay?
yeah.
Oh,
Can
for
you
some
hear
reason it's
me
real
okay?
quiet on my
Um,
end.
let's
I'm like,
see.
here, how is that?
Oh, I can hear you great.
Okay, great. Well,
Yeah.
it's a little low on my end, but I was like, get really close to the computer. Be like, hey. Oh no, it just blipped out for a second. Hello? Let's see, can you hear me? Can you say something one more time? Can't can't hear that just yet. It's like maybe it might be the Bluetooth. I can see your mouth move. Oh, say something again.
Can you hear me? Hi.
Now I can hear you.
Okay, good.
Hey, okay, so what would you like some coaching on today?
Um, I've been making like a list of things since I've been wanting to come
Yes,
and chat with you.
bring me your
Um,
list.
One of the things that I wanted to talk about was, I'm like, where do I start? Where do I start? Oh yeah. Okay. So
Oh, there we go.
um,
I can hear you great now.
you can
Sorry.
hear me.
Yeah, something just shifted with my internet, and now I can hear you great.
Okay.
Hold
Your
on.
face is frozen, but I
Can
can
you
hear you.
see me moving now?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Cool. So I wanted to ask, like, to define what are all the roles that one would, the hats that we all have to
Oh
wear,
yeah.
and like, I know what they are, but I also struggle with this like delegate, delegate, do it
Yeah.
yourself, and like everything. And I know you're promoting doing it yourself and not paying for ads and everything. I think that's amazing. So I wanted to ask you, like, what is your definition of what are all those roles,
So
and how do you allot time for them? I guess.
such a good question. And what I like to do is I like to like think about like as a CEO, I like to think about like as each business is going to be different. But for my business in particular, I know that my roles are to do the marketing. I also do like the sales calls and things like that. I create I do the presentations. I also like within the marketing, I also go out and like meet new people and like do the like outreach to like bring new people in. I do what else is, um I do all the planning like in advance, like managing my calendar, and then I also do like the managing with my calendar and things like that. And also like of course like delivering to my clients. So like actually I was like, what are all the roles that I do? And I was like, those are the six pillars that I have. I was like, wait, it's like what do I do? I'm like, that's what I create systems around, is all six of these things. I think for me, when I'm thinking about again where you are in your business, like right now, I have 16 one-on-one clients, so I spend like a fair amount of time delivering to them. I would also say that like within delivering, I also would say that like that's obviously like a set aside time. So like whatever appointments I have with them, that's what I have set aside. And like I'm thinking about them constantly. Like if I think of them like, oh, like I think I texted or it's like I messaged you and I was like, oh, do you have like tax person? It's like because I have another Canadian client that like could use a tax person and things like that. So that's how I decide that. And then with the marketing piece, I set aside like usually it's like 30 minutes a day to like write a post, but because I'm in a launch right now for the group, it's been more like an hour, and I'm okay with that to like take that time.
And are
Sales
you doing that daily then,
daily
or are you
for,
batching?
for only for a launch.
Okay.
And I was batching. I
Mm-hmm.
did batch. And then I got some feedback that I should totally scrap it and redo it. And I was like, all right, I am open to that.
Oh, why?
Because
Why is that?
okay, so I did a webinar in the beginning of March, and I essentially like built some momentum around it, did the webinar, and had no sale, like nothing planned to market it, the group at all afterwards. And I thought that was like kind of how it was supposed to go. That's like within 200K. That was like the way I thought it was supposed to go. And then I got feedback like, look at what Stacey's doing. It's actually like she sends a lot of emails afterwards, like up to 9. And I was like, oh, no. And I was like, I did not plan for that. And all of the posts that I had were essentially just like talking about the program. And they were like, you're marketing, not selling. Like, you need to tell people, hey, join the program now. Like, yes, here are all the things that you get, but also like join, giving them value and things like that. And I was like, okay, that's different. And they were like, instead, do a different thing, get more momentum, build it again, do a workshop. That was the one I did on Monday, and then restart your launch then. And like, don't talk about the group at all until yesterday. I was like,
Okay.
okay. And
Okay.
so I was like, I could have just stayed with all the stuff that I had batched in like the end of February. But for me, I was like, I know I can help a lot of people, and it's worth it for me to have like a more difficult March than I did to reach them. So that's what I'm doing now. I would say that like honestly, what I would do is I would say that like that's been like a bit of an hour a day. I would say that like talking to people, I'm also trying to spend, and I would consider that maybe my sales time of the day. So I would say like doing like 30 minutes. And I'm really glad you asked this because I kind of like I should totally like make this like a document for everybody. And then 30 minutes an hour. Delivering it like depends, like currently like 16 hours. Um with presentations. Um that's something that I do. I'm trying to allot time for once a month. So it's like a 3-ish hour chunk once a month. And like, so
Okay.
I'll divide that up once a month. And then planning I do once a month for like an hour to 2 hours. And then,
Like planning for your month ahead kind of
yep,
thing, and then you do
hmm
like a
the
weekly
annual plan.
hour one
Oh yeah.
too.
And I do, yep. And I would say that yeah, I would say like an hour to 2 hours monthly and an hour weekly. And then you're right, because Monday hour one. And with managing, I consider my mindset to be a big piece of that. And so that's my self coaching. Takes about 30 minutes a day. And that's been a mix. Like, I have been in a lot of hormonal swings, learning about trauma and stuff like that. That's been like I have to do that now. And then I also am getting coached daily. I like have different people coaching me daily and like sometimes multiple times a day. Um, I also have the mastermind calls. So I get coach. It's like I join in those calls for an hour a day, a week. Sorry.
A week, right?
Yeah. So and it all
Amazing.
ends up being like around like 30 hours a week when I did it like that.
And how?
Oh no. I started and how and then it like went out for like it was like I saw that you asked a full question. I was like, oh no. So what was the next question?
How much time would do you personally allot for bookkeeping? Do you
I
do
would say
that
bookkeeping would
monthly?
be, yeah, that's the monthly. That's when I do QuickBooks, and that's when I do all of like it's called oh my gosh, what's it called? It's hold on. I was like, it's gonna bother me. It like when you go through, I don't know if you have QuickBooks, but what I do is I have to go through my QuickBooks and I have to like do all of the um reconciling. I have to
Right.
reconcile them. So that's what I do once a month, and I actually have a monthly checklist. So I've got all these things on there. So I do bookkeeping. I would also include is like my clients' payment protocol. So I'll like pull up all of my clients, make sure their like finances on track. I also have like their receivables. I'll think about like projections for the next month, what I want to do. If anyone's finishing with me, I have a message I send them. Then QuickBooks, then I go through a monthly evaluation. I delete all my Zoom calls. I update my annual plan. I do monthly hour one. So I just like look ahead and I'm like, okay, here's all the things. This probably takes like more like 3 hours. Update my marketing calendar, social club, sign up for coaching. So I would say that like the marketing once a month, it's like usually it's like weekly. I would say like usually it's like 3 times a week. And then I would say monthly. Doing batching takes like 3 hours.
Now, what is your definition of batching as well? So,
Yeah. So for me, when I'm batching my content, what I'll do is the first step is I take my marketing calendar. I think about if I have any presentations coming up, and then I change the pillars in my program so that I've got all the different like it leads into it, like flows. And then if I don't have any, I just them. And then I write the headlines first for each topic. Like when I'm like, if I was talking about like burnout, for instance, I'd be like, okay, here's a personal story I had with burnout. Here's a tip for burnout, and then here's like a client testimonial. And then then I go through Instagram and I look at like trending audio and things like that, and then I'll put all the trending audio, and then I'll like change out of clothes really quick, and then I take like an hour to like kind of like either talk through it or usually I'm doing more trending audio nowadays. So that's what I use for batching. And then weekly, when I was talking about like the 30 minutes to an hour, that's when I actually write the post and make the show.
oh, okay, okay, awesome.
Yeah. These are such good questions. I was like,
I'll share some documents too that I have on batching
yes.
to share with the group too. That there's like all
Perfect.
these variations of things, and like not mostly, but a lot of us are women in your group,
Yes.
um, and I've been learning about the cycle scheduling as well. So
Huge.
there
That
is
is
a
like,
time of the month that it works, and there is a time of the month that it does not work, and it's not
yep.
you. I mean, it
No.
is you, but it's not you.
Well, and also like I think a lot of times like with the way that I was trained is that like there's a thought that precedes your feeling when you're thinking about like the model. And I've been learning a lot about like how when you have hormonal imbalances, there isn't a thought that's usually related to it. Like there could also be like just you're having a situation where you're like, oh, like I'm feeling very like out of sorts, and it has
Yes.
nothing to do with like your thoughts.
I think that's so key too, because it's like you can be doing the work, doing the model, doing all of
Hmm.
these things, and you're like, I just feel negative and I feel like doomsday, and it doesn't matter what I say or do.
Oh yeah.
It's hormones.
Well, and especially because like I know that has been like a thing, you know, it's like just like having that awareness, you know,
Yes.
like is always really, really helpful. So I'd say like those are the roles that I divide like with the CEO situation.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that's the way I do it. There's so many ways to do it. But
Sure.
one of the things that I like to do is I'm like, here's what I did. You know how I do it. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
here's what I did. And when I was teaching, there was a saying that was like, adopt. So you can either adopt it directly and be like, this is something I'm going to do. Then you can adapt it and you can be like, okay, I need a system for creating marketing or doing outreach or things like that. And I didn't like some parts of Megan's I liked, other parts they didn't really land. And then
Mm-hmm.
there's also abandon when you're like, none of this worked for me. It's like this is not like self-coaching every day, maybe that isn't for you. And so if that's the case, then like that's totally fine. I just want you to implement all of it, see exactly how I do it, and then choose from there,
Right, right, totally.
you know?
Well, actually, that just brought up another question I had was, what is your self-coaching practice?
Yeah, so great question. So I actually am about to do it after this. It's fun. I call it like I used to do like sorry, I'm like pulling up the
All
documents to
good.
show you. Um, what I do is first I within a bunch of masterminds that I've done and just like even podcasts and things like that I listen to, I have adopted so many helpful thoughts from like the way that I have like gotten these situations. So like what I'll do is I just have like a whole list of helpful thoughts. Or it's like hustling
Oh,
is growing fast versus like calm being a way to grow fast. I'm like, this is everything. I was like, no, I do not need to hustle to grow quickly. In fact, I need to grow in a more calm way. So it's either stuff I like want to remember or stuff I want to coach myself on. And then there's a lot of self coaching that I have. And then what I do is I will have here. Sorry, it's like taking a while to scroll. Then the
oh, it's cutting out a little bit. I can't hear
okay.
you.
Then I have my strengths. I don't know if it's because like I've got a bunch of stuff here. And then I do 3 unintentional models. And then I do limiting to empowering beliefs. And then I do Byron Katie's 5 questions. And then I do this thing called intentional thought creation, which is like just what is clear, what do I love about this, just getting like my brain on board with whatever I'm gonna do. And then I do it's a lot, it's a because I've been doing this like for since 2018, so it's like I've been doing this for a while
Mm-hmm.
every day. And then I'll do future thought work, and then I'll do an intentional model, and then I'll do like things I need to build belief on. So it's like why I'm great at business coaching, why my group is one of the best business coaching groups to join, why the best people coming to my group, why my lunch and this business is easy, why I'm proud of myself, ways I can feel safe and at peace today, and gratitude. And that's like the end.
Love it. I
It's
want to
very, very helpful.
try.
Yes, I will send this to everybody if you guys want to like look at it.
Totally.
Like it is I'll make a blank one, and then I'll have like also like the one that I sent to y'all because this is like how many years has it been now? Like 5 years in. So it's like do not judge like 5 years of thought work to like year one.
Sure.
Start there. And I could totally do a training about like how to do like basic thought, not basic. Nothing is like basic, but like more
Mm-hmm.
basic thought work.
I'd love to learn about like unintentional to intentional
Yeah.
or something like that. We could do that
Oh
another
my
call for sure.
God. It's so helpful. And then like I almost have like made that like a standard operating procedure for me. Like it's like and like for everyone that's a big word that just means that like that's my system. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's like I have a system for it. And like I feel like if I do that system every day, I know I've at least done my due diligence to make my brain feel better.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, a daily practice is also going to be something that
Yes.
we build on, and we find different components from different teachers or modalities or
Mhm.
whatever. And I mean, I do love the life coach school stuff. And I've,
Yeah.
I've personally tried doing the morning pages
Oh,
for the
cool.
last little while and the thought download, but like I have a hard time doing that.
Yeah.
So,
That's
uh,
well, I don't know what the morning pages are sent. Feel free to share that with the group, but like it's really what works for you. And I'm a
mm,
very like because of ADHD, I'm actually like also very like hypersensitive to routine, and like that helps me to like if I have a set structure makes me feel safe. Working on trusting lack of structure more, but like a lot of times structure is like my way to go.
hmm. No,
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, the unstructured writing too, because of ADHD more so. I'm like, ooh, what's that? Oh, I had another thought.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, look at my phone in the middle of pages. I'm like, what the hell?
And it's like this is a really good thought. They really want to remember, but I also like need to get through this to like start my day.
Yeah.
Like it's like
Yeah.
that would it's like this would be great. And like I found that like doing a thought I think we talked about like going on a walk and like doing my thought work using talk to type. That has
Yes.
been something that I've found to be really helpful. Not as much in the winter because it's cold,
Yeah.
but like
Yeah.
now that it's like getting nicer outside, it's been helpful.
Girl, I'm in Canada. It's gonna be a while.
It's gonna be a hot minute. And also understanding that like the cycle of your business can go with the seasons as well. And being like knowing that like, hey, in the winter, sometimes I get depressed, like seasonal affective disorder, SAD,
Hmm.
you know what I'm talking about? Like that
Yeah,
is also very real and also very important to keep in mind too.
totally. And the recession and everybody's freaking out right now and stuff. Um, Actually, how much time do we have
The
together?
whole time.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
Yeah, girl.
Okay, so speaking of that, actually, with like a general
Mm.
thought in the society right
Unless
now.
anyone has anything they want coaching on, feel free to like post in the comments. But as far
Yeah.
as I know, you're the only person.
Okay. Awesome.
We'll
Well,
keep it.
I'll make sure to ask and speak about useful things for
Well, I love that.
everybody. Well, so it's a thing that's happening around the general thoughts of society is like there's a recession, people are not wanting to spend money as much. I'm seeing coaching people popping up all over the place saying like throw out high ticket offers and this and that and like so many different
Oh my
things
God.
happening, which is not at all my reality. Like I'm moving up, everything is going well. I'm
Yeah.
watching you and my
Good.
other colleagues, like
Yeah.
friends and stuff doing well. And I had a talk yesterday with somebody. I'm giving up my apartment. I'm not getting a new place.
Mhm.
I'm gonna start traveling, um, living, scarily but like exciting. And
Oh my
for,
God. This
yeah,
is awesome. I'm so excited for you. This is literally like what we had envisioned for you like a very
totally.
long
And
time ago.
I'm very excited about it. Now, do I have a savings in place? No, but that's okay. I'm also not going to have the bills that I had before, so I'm not
Right.
scared about it, you
Yeah.
know? Um, and like, I feel like for me, what works is leaping into belief and then letting the magic come. And I believe in the magic because I've been witness to it. I've been a lucky person a lot of times in my life and equally not, So like, I understand that that's a thought. Um,
Yeah.
but however, when I talk about these things, like I have to be careful of how excited I'm getting because then I immediately get like hit with like varieties of intensity of like that's not realistic. Look at the world around you. Now's the worst time to travel. Why are you giving up your apartment? You may never get one again. And
Mhm.
from a lot of people. So like I mean, there's always something negative to be said in the world,
Yeah.
right? Obviously, but is it actually the end of the world coming? Like, there's still going to be lots of millionaires made, even if the world is coming to an end.
Oh
So,
yeah. And I a lot of times like when I kind of forgot about their like I a lot of times like intentionally think about like my consumption and also conversations and like it's interesting because like I have not felt the recession like and like I was actually there was a thing that Stacey did and like when I like the recession I think a lot of times it affects people who have invested in the stock market. I'm not one of those people. I
yeah.
do not I invest in my business like fully a lot of the time. and I think that my clients are the same way, that they're like not thinking in that regard. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's just really interesting to like see, and I'm like, oh, it's like I haven't been affected by it. And also like I think that there are definitely like people, I would just be like, I would say like the caution around like having the conversations, it's like recognizing that like a lot of the things that people are projecting are not things that you need to take on either.
Right.
And being
Right.
like,
Yeah.
okay, it's like, yep, I see that. And like, if that's serving you, like, go for it. I also don't need to change your beliefs in order to keep mine.
Right. So like just creating like an energetic boundary for
I
yourself.
would say that that's what it sounds like you're like looking for. And it's like for anyone that doesn't know about boundaries, it's like if if it's like if someone like starts talking about like the recession, or if someone is like you can't travel, it's like then I will like do what? So it's like what are the things that are like quote unquote, for lack of better words, like triggering at this
Mhm.
time, and then what can we use to like be like, hey, no, we're just not going to do that right now, you know?
Yeah. Well, yeah. That's kind of. I try to change the subject, but like I want to share my excitement with people, but then I'm having a hard time with that. So like to find the words to place that boundary would be good rather than just like, okay, I'm just going to change the subject and not be happy in front of you. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. So it's like if so it's like you're sharing excitement with people, and then what happens?
And then I get the reality check
Hmm.
um, from someone who's not in maybe the, I don't know what world we're in, the coaching
Yeah.
world, I guess.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. So if someone gives me a reality check that feels unhelpful, then what?
mhm.
From a place of
Well, what it is,
love, you know?
yeah. Um, I don't know. I don't know how to say like that's yours and this is mine. Sorry.
Yeah, and I would say that like so there's like two different ways that you could go about it. There's also like a request, and it's like you could say like then it's like if someone um if I get a reality check from someone, then I will say thank you so much for that perspective, but I actually am feeling really good about it right now.
Okay. Okay. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. Like thanking them, because that was the thing. I'm like, how do I see someone and witness them and what they're trying to do for me or what they're experiencing and
Yeah.
projecting, but also just like giving it back to them.
Yeah, and just being like, hey, like I don't need that right now. Thank you so much. And you could say also if it's repeated like happening with people that are like a part of your life that are like you can't just like walk away a lot of the time
Mhm.
from, then we can do thought work around like what are your thoughts about it. Or you can also be like I noticed that like when I'm talking about travel, like you want to offer advice or something like what would you
Yeah.
say that's like like a circumstance?
Um, the common question is, oh, I'm giving up my place. And then they say, oh, where are you moving to? And I say, I'm not. I'm not getting a place. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to travel.
Okay.
And I'm happy.
Okay. So it's like when I'm talking about my next ventures, then what happens?
Then I get concern.
Like,
I
like
get like concern from others.
yeah. Okay. So it's like, I noticed when I'm talking about my next venture, like,
Like you get concerned. No, maybe not.
yeah, well, I'm thinking that it's like, it's something that's like that you've said things that make me feel like it's because because like the next part is you do observations and then your feelings and then your needs and then a request. So it's like I felt like the concern isn't helping. Like it's like but it's like I felt like And like, why does it bother you so much? Like, if people are like concerned.
I feel very energetically like what's the word? Like influenced.
Hmm.
Influence. Like I feel like I like in an empathic regard that like when people are feeling scared and nervous and stuff that I immediately pick that up.
Yeah.
So I try to ward it off.
Hmm. It's it's kind of like not, and I notice because like not necessarily
Mm-hmm.
it's like a like we can't be like there was an energetic shift.
Yeah.
It's like you could even say that it's like um it seems like there's been a, a negative energetic shift.
Mm-hmm. Or like a difference in energetic perspective.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. It's like been a difference in energetic perspective, you know? And it's like I felt like when that difference happens, it takes me out of the excitement of the opportunity and puts you where?
It puts me in worry mode.
Yeah. And it's like,
In
so it's like,
fear in a fear-based place.
yes, in a fear-based place. And so then what we can do is we can talk about like, okay, it's like I would like for like when I'm talking about it, and talk about like why being in a fear-based place is not helping you.
Because I've worked so hard to not be in that
Hmm.
place by default.
Yep. It's like, so it's like I know you want to help, but I've worked so hard to not be in this fear-based place, and I, I would love some support. So it's like and then the next part is listing your needs. I would like when I'm talking about like travels, it's like, do you want them to like meet you with positivity? Do you want them to just, it's like say, it's not like nice to say or not saying anything at all, like kind of.
Yeah, it's like meet me with possibility, or could you trust me and imagine the best case scenario?
Uh-huh. The upcoming ventures that you trust me and support me, um, or we could just avoid that conversation.
Hmm. Yeah, or I could just, or I don't have to talk about it with you
Yeah,
anymore.
it's
Kind of,
like, or
yeah.
we don't need, it's like, are you willing to do that? If
Hmm.
not, then we could just avoid this conversation.
Because it could also be triggering. Well, of course, it's triggering for other people's beliefs, limiting beliefs, right?
For sure. And like people think that like things have to be done a certain way. It's like it's like, but then you're just opening up and being like, hey, I love you so much. I really appreciate you. Like, and I know that all these things are coming from so much love. And I just want you to know that like I feel that from you and I appreciate it. But what I found is that like the conversations have been like honestly like really triggering to me and put me back in the bad space that like I've been working so hard to get out of. And I think this trip is like the thing that I need to get out of this space and like move forward. And so it's like whenever I'm talking about this, like if you could just come from a place of trust and support, that would be so helpful for me. But also, if not, we could also avoid this conversation. Would you be willing to do that? Like, and also
That's
like,
nice.
and because then it's like coming from so much love and kindness and like I am so excited for you because I know that this has been like a dream of yours and it's like, oh my gosh, you're getting to do the thing that we said we were going to do like last
Hmm.
year. This time last year. It's like this is happening. And it's like, okay.
And I'm not prepared for it or anything. And well, I mean, I am. in a lot of ways, but it's like that was something that was holding me back was I need to get this and that in order and everything. It's like, I'm just going to make it work in a different way.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that like one of the things that like um I think as business owners, we also get like fed ideas that we need business to look a certain way and be a certain way. And I was talking with like one of my clients, she's like, I want to take 3 months off and just go and travel Asia. I'm like, we can do that. That's the beauty of these businesses. It's like we could take time off. We could coach whenever we want. It's like we can do things whenever we want. And it's still like things are gonna work out like in a different way than I think a lot of people anticipate it. And I think your bravery to shift is like actually I think about like with all of us, I think we all want to follow our dreams and do these awesome like things with our gifts and talents. And I think a lot of times what happens is other people see that and it's hard for them because it's so different than anything that anyone's ever thought of. Like, I mean, like for me to go out and start a business, no business experience, teacher, I was pre-med before that. Like I literally like on paper, there was not a lot of reasons for me to like have this work out. And I got met with some of that. And at the same time, I was like, no, no, like this is like what my like I feel like I'm supposed to do in the world. Like when I was coaching people, I was like, oh my God, this is it. This is it. And like, even if it didn't even start from like that feeling, like just following like the things that you feel like you're supposed to do, I think is like, I think it's so important in the world. And I'm really, really glad that you're doing that.
I'm kind of living by what scares me more means I'm going in the right
It's
direction.
like scary and exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, same thing, right?
Yep. It's like nervousness is excitement without breath is like a monk saying or something like that.
Mm.
So that's awesome. I know you had a slew of conversation or things. I was like, I'm sorry to
Yeah.
take like a segue onto that, but I felt like it was important because I think it's been getting to you and know that it's normal for it to get to you. And also like, you don't have to like receive that right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna go la 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 la.
Just be like,
Making magic
okay,
happen.
like I appreciate it. And no, not right now, you know?
And it's
So,
something common that happens, so it's got to get through it.
yep. And there, I have a feeling as soon as you start traveling, you're going to meet people who are doing the same thing.
Totally, and I just don't know people that are well, I do know some people, but it's not surrounding me in this like
Yet.
metropolis bubble of like rat race and stuff, like where it's very hard to get out of that mindset.
Yeah.
So leave and then go to where it is
Yeah.
normal.
Are you going to go back to Mexico?
At some point, yes, definitely.
So fun.
I'm not sure where my first trip is going to be, but I have work lined up in a few different like cities. But
So fun.
I need like a yoga retreat in like Nicaragua or something first, I think.
That's awesome. I taught in Nicaragua. That was like
Oh,
right after
cool.
college. That was like, yeah, I stayed a month there, but it was fun.
That's beautiful. I went once for yoga retreat there, so I think I would probably go back.
That sounds amazing. And who knows, but you could do like an exchange and be like, I can tattoo you if you let me do this retreat for free.
Totally.
You know, different
Yeah.
kind of value exchange. I love that, and that sounds good. I know you had a lot of other questions. How are you feeling? Were those the questions, or are there more?
I had one other
Yeah.
thing, but I saw somebody pop up. Is that
She popped,
okay?
yeah, she popped up, and I think that we're gonna meet up next week if that's okay, Kelly. Because
Oh,
I would
sorry.
love to take like I know what kind of stuff she wants to talk about, and I would love to take like I feel like we're like creating a program for her, so
Cool.
I feel like it might take more than 15 minutes, and I would love to answer your question.
Sure.
It's been
Okay. Awesome.
way too long. Like
Yeah,
I literally
it
think
has
since
been.
like February 1st was like our last coaching call.
It's been week after week after week of me being like, I'm coming. No, I can't. So Kelly's gonna join you next week, and then you get to be in the hot seat like I am today.
Hot seat. Join in.
Amazing. Good. Awesome. Thanks, Kelly. So the other thing that came up. Sorry about the noise.
It's okay. I can hear you now.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
It's a thought that comes up instantaneously, I notice, as I'm trying to shift out of things. And after being like, I've been sober for a year. I have, well, give or take, like I haven't been my past self. I've been a new version of myself the last year for the first time ever. And so everything is new, all of my experiences. And something that's been new in the last year I've noticed is this, like, I can't afford that, or that's not for me, or that's too expensive. And even for like small things, even going to a restaurant with a friend, like all of these like luxuries in the past that maybe I was irresponsible and like not dealing with consequences, now I've become like ultra on the other end of things.
Mhm.
And I'm trying to break free from that, because when I was less responsible, but just had different thoughts about things, I had different results, and I could get a lot more things for myself and go out and enjoy myself. So now I want to enjoy myself more, but what's holding me back is the thought of, I can't afford that, or that's not for me, and that's not me anymore. That's irresponsible to think I could go for lunch, or why am I spending $20 on coffee? Like, why are these things that are coming up? So
Yeah. Well,
I
and I
know
think
that's huge.
like like it's your brain trying to keep you safe. And I think that for me, one of the things that I have noticed is that when you, and actually it's really cool. I'm learning a lot about the nervous system. And I think that's
Mm-hmm.
happening is you're having a subconscious nervous system response. And a lot of coaching is done on like the logical side of your brain. And the reason why I think this is really important to bring up is that like logically you understand that like I physically have money for this, like I can afford this, like, but there's still like that response,
Mm-hmm.
it's like I know that I can, but I'm still having this response. So one of the things that I've learned with another coach that I've hired is there are ways that you can shift out of a negative, like not of a subconscious thought pattern by putting in what's called a roadblock. So also everyone check out Renee. She's amazing. But what you do is if you think about your neurons, they're like on a highway in your brain and they're just like going on a loop. And if you think about you, like old you, those thoughts are really, really familiar. Okay. It's like those thoughts were like patterned over and over for a year. I can't afford that. It's too expensive. This is a luxury. And I'm going to be, and I think your brain, your subconscious is trying to keep you safe because what happened is after you did like the luxuries and things like that, what happened is then there were consequences and negative things that happened. So
And
that's
I
why
drank then too, so I was like, whatever, it's
you're like,
fine.
it's fine. And it's like, oh, maybe it wasn't fine. Maybe it was like,
Mm-hmm.
and so then it's like getting into that feeling and being like, okay, like I understand why this is happening, but your subconscious is still going to try and protect you. And so there are these techniques. I don't really resonate with like tapping. Have you ever heard of it?
I do it every day.
Oh, okay, okay. So like what happens is when you are having a neural like feedback loop that's going on repeat and you feel a trigger to your past self, you can do what's called a roadblock and think about the neural road that it's on. Just switch it to do something else, to focus on something else. So the tapping can create that enough stimulation to break the loop. So like the goal is to
Okay.
like break. And actually, the cool thing is in EEGs, which are like ways that you can like scan your brain, you can see the areas that are lit up and you can watch it change. Like I
Yeah.
love the science behind things, and I'm like, oh my god, you're literally like you can literally see the grooves in your brain, like the literal like
Mm-hmm.
um they literally change. So they're like one groove will like smooth over and another one will appear.
Wow, cool.
Like the neatest stuff. Okay. That's why I'm like, I am so into this and maybe getting trained in
Yeah.
it. But there's another one. If you're feeling like the tapping isn't working, bilateral stimulation is something that I found to be huge. So what happens is like anytime I start to feel triggered, it's happened on like consult calls and things like that, or like even and I'm not saying this happens all the time. Like this morning, I was like, oh my God, I'm like, I can't do it. Like, it's like, but it helps lessen that a little bit. So it's like, if you think about like your brain being in two hemispheres, there's a corpus callosum in the middle. And what you want to do is if there's a loop on this side, you just want to go back and forth to distract the loop. So the way that you do that is bilateral stimulation. You take something that's like a little heavy. You could take like, if you've got like a pen, a cup, like literally anything in front of you and pass it back and forth for a minute. And if you can do it
Oh,
for a minute, it literally like will shift you enough. And think about like what you want to think instead. So if you're like, I can't afford that, it's like, maybe I can afford that. I think I can afford that. I've actually looked at my bank account and logically I can afford that. it is something that I would like to spend money on right now, and I feel safe to like do that. And I understand where you're coming from, Brain, and I know that's where we were for a really long time, but that's not who I am anymore, and that's not who I want to be. And I appreciate you trying to keep me safe, but I'm okay. It's like, and just like checking in with yourself and being like, I'm okay. It's okay. Everything's gonna be okay. Like, but like it
Wow.
actually helps. And then like you can also imagine like your right hand to your left hand, if you're like driving or something, get triggered, you can be like, oh, okay, like I'm gonna imagine going from my right hand to my left hand. So that's another way to do bilateral stimulation. Another way is peripheral vision. So if you look at me like right now in the screen or find something to focus on, and then you picture everything to the right and then picture everything to the left without like moving your eyes. And then you picture everything up and then everything down. And then you go behind you and like imagine what it is. That can also get you out of your head in those moments and into your body and into safety, which is like very important. And then there's another technique called 5 4 3 2 1. So you look and name 5 things. So it's like lamp, wreath, picture, phone, keyboard. And then you do 4 things you can touch. And then it's like, okay, it's like sweater, blanket, armrest, pants. And then you do 3 things you can hear. So I can hear Jack's snoring. I can hear the thing behind me, and I can hear the background noise in the coffee shop. And then 2 things that you can smell. So like the coffee beans for me, it's a candle. I have like 2 different smelling candles for this reason. So I like literally have 2 different candles, so I can smell both of them. And then 1 thing that you can taste, and I just like drink it.
Ah.
So it's like really like you when you're doing it, like you don't just say it, like you're not like lamp. It's like I'm not like on consult calls and I'm like, hold on please, lamp, picture, TV, computer. It's like it's not
Yeah.
like that. You're just like, okay, yeah. And you're like taking deep breaths as you do that will help your nervous system to really regulate and like really help.
Awesome. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was learning a little bit about those, like hearing little bits and pieces about different nervous system. I'm geeking out on it right
It's
now
huge.
too, because it's like the science underneath all the magic,
Right.
right? Um, and but with the thought interruption too, like with the roadblocks and stuff like that. But like I had seen these exercises, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
as like, anger management or triggers and stuff, but I didn't think of applying it to like a
Yes.
thought loop.
That's
Yeah.
like I think it's such a great way to do it. And I'm gonna add you. Have you ever seen breath work or done breath work?
Yes.
So one of my clients from this last round of the mastermind, her name is Dorit, and she does weekly breath work. So I'm adding her to your. I'm gonna add you to her group. And then
Sure.
there's another one of my clients who, and I don't know why for some reason it doesn't. Oh, reclaiming her. Here it is. Okay, and I'm gonna add you to this one too. And she reclaiming her is Katie Olderman. She comes on here a lot. Like you probably saw her in like
Mhm.
last week or something. And she talks about she's literally a nervous system coach.
Cool. Yeah.
So it's like she's literally. I was like, I just want you to just like I want you to just tell me like all the things that you've learned, and I just want you to do like a deep dive into
Okay.
because it's like crazy. It's not crazy at all. It's like it makes sense. Like if you think about starting a business and you think about the things that like I actually have also learned about like there's this thing called cumulative microtrauma. So it's like
Oh, I have not heard that.
yeah. So learned about this a lot. Like it's come up recently, like understanding things that were like not mine, that they were like someone else's things that were like put on me for a while. And it was like, oh, this is really interesting. But like what happens is if you're in a situation that first off you've experienced like big T traumas, but like little T traumas that's like, oh, I don't believe in you, you can't do this, like you're not really fully booked, it's like I'm not sure, it's like do you really have enough money, are you good at money, I don't think you're actually good. And it's like all these like little things that like were said that like you would never classify them as like something that's like a big T trauma. Like if someone was like, I don't think you're very good at money,
Hmm.
maybe that would be a big street. But it's if it's happens over time, it can accumulate to cumulative micro trauma. And if you think about having a business, it's like the things that cause a lot of trauma are abandonment, there so failure, and
Hmm.
rejection. And that's like
Hmm.
all a business. Like all the whole thing of having a business is like feeling abandoned a lot of the time and like failure and rejection. And it actually is like it needs a lot of nervous system resistance in order to overcome that.
And it's just a capacity to receive and good stuff too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so it's like anytime that you're like feeling like really, really triggered, you can go and be like, okay, first off, it's like, where is this like tap it out and then be like, is this coming from me? Is this actually like something that I'm worried about? Or is this from somebody else? Is this from something that's happened with my business? Like, where is this coming from? And then you can see it a lot more clearly instead of trying to solve it, like being triggered and trying to solve for the triggers.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, totally. Well, that's
Yeah.
kind of like I noticed that thought this morning, like when I was just talking about coffee. I was like, oh, I can't afford that. But then I was like, I'm going to talk about this later. So I put a pin
Yeah.
because I knew in the time I was like, I can't even
You,
go
yeah.
there right now.
And that's what I would say that like doing like the little like it's called nervous system regulation.
Mhm.
And did we ever talk about the polyvagal theory?
Yes, we did. And
Yes.
you know
Okay.
what, Megan? My mechanic that I'm here waiting for just called right now, so I have to
Oh,
call him back.
that's great. Well, that's super exciting and have so much fun. For everybody else, I'll keep explaining about the polyvagal theory, but
Yes, yes.
I am so, so glad that you came on and I love you so, so much.
I
You
love you
are
so
amazing.
much.
And if you like, please message in the group if you've got more questions, if you've got those like other ideas and things that you've gotten
I
from other
will.
businesses,
I'm gonna hop on right
please.
after I figure out my car situation, and I'll add
Yeah.
some things. And yeah, I'd love to continue the conversation. So thank you so much. I'm so grateful,
Oh,
and thank you, Kelly, too, for allowing the space for me too.
yes, of course. We
All right.
love
Have
you
a
and we'll
great
see you
day.
soon.
Bye.
Bye. And then for everyone else that is on, so this is the and I'll share of course all this with you guys, but this is the polyvagal theory. And when what you have is when you are in a state of like fight, flight, freeze, or even fawn, or that kind of a response, what you want to do is you want to like get your nervous system back under control, which a lot of times means that you need to do the tapping, do bilateral stimulation, other sorts of things. And I want you to know that like one of the reasons why I think like starting a business is hard is like there's the educational component of it, but like literally like all the things that your brain is like your primitive brain subconscious is designed to like solve for you is like you don't want to feel abandoned because in the past that meant that like you were going to experience like certain death and that meant that like you could literally die. And so that's what's going on with like or like if you think about like rejection, it's like you were excommunicated. That means you didn't get any food, you died. If you experience failure, then you could drop in the ranks and then maybe die or not get a part. Like, literally talking about like primitively. That's how your subconscious runs. And what happens is it might not be even logical. And I'll share a podcast about the polyvagal theory that's really, really helpful. I found it very helpful. But like at different stages, you're not going to need, it's like go, going to be like, oh, just take some deep breaths or like do some tapping or things like that. Those, it might not work for each stage. You might need to find different things for you to do personally at each stage. But it's really, really important that you like are just knowing that like your literal body like is not like it's not designed primitively, subconsciously for the things that I think a lot of businesses have. And if you can have that awareness, I'll also share Dorit and Kelly's group, or not Kelly, Katie's group in here if you guys are interested in joining them. They're brilliant, awesome human beings. And I'm going to talk to Renee about starting a group because she's also phenomenal. And I think it'd be really helpful for you guys to have that because I'm not I do a lot of the conscious mind, don't really focus on as much as the nervous system. And I think it'd be really great for you guys to have other experts in those areas um, to work through all your stuff with. So that is our call for today. And Roma, that was awesome. Thank you for bringing all those things. Like we literally hit everything from like talking about like standard operating procedures, which I've created systems for, to talking about requests and boundaries, to talking about the nervous system. So it's like this has been like one of the most all-encompassing calls. And I think a lot of times, like when I'm coaching people, it'll go like that. It's like, okay, well, here it's like, what is the system problem? And then what's the action problem? And then what's the science behind it? And it's like getting all those perspectives, I think is just so much fun. And a lot of times when I'm coaching, you'll see me do something like that. So like in my group, I'll go through things like that too. And if that is something that you're like looking for, if that's something that you want and feel like your business could really use right now, just a better understanding, someone else who has a different perspective and other people to support you as well, I would love to invite you to join the mastermind. And I just appreciate all of you guys so, so much. I think you guys are all so awesome. And I'll put the link to join in the chat, and I will see you guys